Welcome back. Thank you very much for staying with us. Is there enough confidence in South African police to deal with terrorism? Recently, there's been terrorism threats alerts in the country coming from foreign nationals such as the United States. This week, the U.S. Treasury imposed sanctions. South Africa-based ISIS cell led by Farhad Huma. Last month, the U.S. Embassy issued an alert about a possible terrorist attack in Sandton. So how can South Africa's law enforcement intelligence agency take control of its counter-terrorism and restore confidence? Well, let's discuss this a bit better with Willem Els from the Institute for Security Studies. Mr. Els, good afternoon and thank you very much for your time. A very interesting article. Just talk us through this article which suggests that there's very little trust, or the actions of the US are as a result of their mistrust with the country's ability to deal with terrorism.
Good afternoon to you. Yes, unfortunately so. I think we must just, as a point of departure, just state that there are many police officers and men and women who are really working very hard and are trying their best to combat this situation. But unfortunately so, if you look at the Mufamadi report, you also look at in the wake of what happened in July last year, we see that from an intelligence perspective, there's not a lot of trust. And also, we have to look at the Huma case itself, the case where the mosque in Verulam was bombed. That case dragged on for some time. And then due to some sloppy prosecution work, that case was actually scrapped off the roll. So that really dented the police and the prosecution authorities' image. And we also know that ever since that case was scrapped off the roll, they had the opportunity to reinvestigate this case and bring it to court again. And up till now, that has not happened.
On that particular case from 2018, what were the reasons furnished? Was it just clear bungling up of the case, or what? Because all that is stated when one does research is that there were deficiency in the prosecutions.
Yeah, if we look at the court papers, we will see that the magistrate actually lambasted the prosecutor for lack of interest. We also see that he lambasted him that according to records, telephone records, he was only twice in the past, I think it was 12 months, in contact telephonically with the investigating officer, indicating that there was a breakdown in communication between the investigating officer and the prosecution itself.
So in that particular case, we understand that Huma and 10 others actually tried to have a device inside the mosque. Was it a bomb? What exactly was this device?
Yeah, it was not only the mosque. We see that they discovered a what we call an IED, an improvised explosive device in the mosque when Minister Clearly was actually visiting. We also can remember that several of the Woolworths outlets, as well as some of the Spar outlets in Durban, as well as the Durban July, have been targeted with similar devices that what we believe was the result of a elaborate extortion campaign by this cell.
So would you say America's actions in these past few weeks are actually justified, that South Africa has poorly handled issues relating to some of these men?
I think we must just step back about one step and just look at what we are dealing with. We are dealing here not with a domestic issue, unfortunately so. We are dealing with the transnational, international terrorism cases that are being investigated. And, there are 18 international instruments on counter-terrorism from the United Nations that are actually binding on all countries that are signatories, including South Africa. So we have got an international obligation also to come to the table and to investigate these cases. Just for instance, these people have been blacklisted because according to the papers, they are generating funds and they are moving funds, funding ISIS, which is an international terrorist organization. So what would have been the implications for South Africa if the money that has been generated here and sent to ISIS results in, for instance, an attack like we experienced in Brussels, where the international airport and the train station had been attacked? You see, and that is the implications. It's not that South Africa is an island in this situation. We are part of a global community, and we've got certain obligations in terms of that.
And does it not make us vulnerable where there could be attacks on us? Because for some, it doesn't sit quite well that we're considered, or there's been a UN Security Council report that revealed that we are, in fact, some sort of a conduit now in this funding of terrorism.
Yeah, in terms of the article that you mentioned, the FATF is also on the verge of greylisting South Africa because they believe that South Africa is not doing enough in terms of the investigation and combating of terrorism. So that places another burden on South Africa that is also going to have some ramification in terms of sanctions, in terms of the economy, in terms of investment. So it's a bigger picture that we are looking at here. But that said, I still believe, as I mentioned in the beginning, that there are really some people in these organizations, the police, the intelligence, and the prosecution, that are really working hard to do this. And this is the ideal opportunity for them now to demonstrate that they are able to do this and also to come to the table with some very positive work.
Let's hope they will. Willem, thank you very much for your time. That's the Institute for Security Studies, Willem Els.